Okay, Renaissance Guy, Trends to Change here. I'm heading out to the gym as per usual. It's quite a nice Monday morning. Now the reason why I drive to the gym is pretty much because after I finish at the gym, I go to my mum and dad's and I look after my mum and dad. And there are times where I have to go out into the car to run errands or run them around or do the shopping, so pretty much I go straight from the gym to my mum and dad's to look after them. So if I didn't have that, I would be walking around, but I do get my cardio in and I do a lot of stuff, and you know, I keep myself going. I have actually started going back to the gym on an evening just to do a bit of cardio. I can thoroughly recommend the Battle Bike, and the way I train on the Battle Bike is very, very simple. I do 30 seconds of a normal pace and then I go 10 seconds full on sprint. I do around about 12 minutes of it, and trust me, it's a good hitter. And then I do a few things afterwards as well, keep the intensity going, and hopefully, I'm not going to say I'm going to be a ripped god in a couple of months' time, but I'll be closer to my goals and my goals and what I want for upcoming events. So I wanted to actually do a quick video, and I'm going to be sharing it on Facebook. I'm going to share it on here, and I'm going to kind of tag a few people in it. And it was a prediction I made, and I got laughed at by a lot of people. And even when I gave facts and figures, and I said, these are the facts and figures, and this is how it is, and this is what's going to happen if we all blindly follow the instructions. So it goes back to lockdown, and at first I was like, when COVID first came in, and I believe I actually had those symptoms before COVID was actually a thing. I remember the November before, I was really sick, so I'm not going to turn around and say it didn't exist. I'm not as foolish to say that, but as to the extent of what it was being touted at, it simply was not what people were saying. And in fact, all the paperwork now coming out is proving that this was something that should never cause a lockdown or anything else. It's done more damage and harm to society. But I remember when I was saying, and I mean, to be honest, at first I was sort of like, well, you know what, the government's going to do this, this and this, it's going to give people money to stay home from work and everything, and I said, you know, and I thought it would only last a few months and we'd all get back on. They stretched out to a couple of years. Even though the death rate was pretty much over 90% in the over 60s, in the retirement age group, and although it only affected a very small, minuscule minority of people, all these heavy things were placed down out of fear rather than using common sense. The police were Gestapo-like in their actions, in full riot gear outside gyms, certain mainstream gyms, going around and pretty much frightening people, threatening people, and generally there was a very nasty business. And I said this, this is not anything to do with COVID. This is an exercise in the control of human rights and freedoms. And back when COVID was being said, right, you know, we can't do this anymore, we're going to get back to normal, the Labour Party was still calling for further lockdown, for further lockdowns, for an extension of it, which was disgraceful, absolutely disgraceful. And I said this is an exercise to restrict human rights, and I was laughed at. People, oh, don't be ridiculous, you know, the government won't do that, you know, it'll go back to normal, everything else like that. What are we now seeing? And to be honest with you, I think we would have seen the same thing with the Conservative Party. We are seeing a lockdown of human freedoms, expression. We are seeing people being sent to people's houses, detectives, not just normal constabulary, detectives who are being sent round to people's houses to interview and essentially target people who do not think the way the establishment thinks. And why is this? Because we allowed the freedoms to be taken away. When way back in the 1800s, people carried guns, weapons, etc. all the way through. But slowly and surely, those rights were made illegal. You can't carry this, you can't carry that, you can't carry the other, you can't do this, you can't do that. And it was all in soft little increments until our rights on defending ourselves were so restricted that literally you can't move for this. You literally are restricted on so many levels. And now we see, as I said, police turning up, acting like the Fourth Reich Nazi Party, people, 70-year-olds being arrested and thrown in jail. Come on. All this was an exercise for now, and it's going to get worse, okay? This video now, I could actually be, if somebody complained, police could be sent to my door and saying, oh, this person is spreading hatred, etc, etc, which I'm not. I'm making a valid point on what is happening. Don't you see the threat of everybody in England? Furthermore, we're now actually having a government that, despite 3 times, 3 votes, 3 referendums, seeking to rejoin the European economy, when the people of England said no. And yet they're doing it. Your vote is being completely ignored. The government is for the people, should be representing the people's will. It never even did. 3 times was a referendum and the government still wanted to do it. We had a prime minister resign rather than doing the people's will. He should have been investigated for that. But the problem we have is, first off, people not voting with their heads. People allowing this to happen. And when people march against this, you even have idiots who fight against the people trying to protect the rights and freedoms of the individual. The whole thing is ridiculous. We don't even have anything where the Prime Minister, these ministers and his cabinet who have lied, you cannot even hold them accountable. If you take them to court, the courts say, oh well, it's politically charged and there's political ideals, and they throw it out of court. They are not held to accountability. They go into Europe or they go somewhere where they are safe with a big fat pension without even once being held to accountability. This is the state where we are in now. And if you want further proof, there are people now having their local elections being suspended or cancelled because the Labour Party know exactly what's going to happen. They're going to lose, and they're going to change the boundaries, so people will lose their rights to vote for who they wish to vote for. And some of these boundaries are going to take where people have voted otherwise and join them together with people who voted for Labour. That's the plan. That is the reality of this. This is a reality of what we have allowed the government to do, and we've allowed the police to become the military arm of the government against the British indigenous people. That is what's happened. And I predicted this, and now it's coming true. So, you know, if you vote for Labour, you've only got yourself to blame. You've literally inflicted this on every single person in the UK. That's what you've done. So, you know, people need to start using their brains rather than just saying, oh, I vote traditionally, or I don't like this person, or I just want to get this government out. That never works. That never works. You've got to vote for politics and really take a look at who is running to lead us. Because now we do actually have a socialist, megalomaniacal tyrant who runs things according to his own machinations. Well done. That's exactly what you get when you vote for it. Few thoughts to pretty much say, yep, I was right. We'll have to see what the future brings, won't we?